Hello and welcome to Warframe. My name's Todd, also known as Major Mech, and this is of course Warframe. Last time we left off completing the fight with Sargus Ruck, taking him down on Tethys. This part we're going to be focusing on trying to unlock the Uranus Junction by opening 3 Meso Void Relics, and also crafting an Auric and Derelict Key. Currently we only got 1 Meso fissure at the moment, which is a capture, so I'm going to try and get into that as soon as I'm able to.
Do you remember the old war,
because of the fact that we'll be able to
or
knock
this
those
seems
out
to
kind
have
of quickly
misplaced those
if we get a
memories?
good group. Now, when you're looking to craft a derelict key, you'd go into your marketplace here, and you'd go down to equipment, and it should be keys and drones. In here, you'd find the extractor drones. These are fantastic if you're early on still trying to get new effectively parts for things, such as materials and other items. You can buy a blueprint for these, and these kind of get set up on a planet. I'll show this off later on when I have more credits, but those effectively are just an automated way to get resources. Now, these Auric and Derelict keys open up the special missions on the Auric and Derelict. For the purpose of just creating one of them, we're going to go with the capture, just because of the fact that it's kind of easy to craft. We don't really have to worry about too much about it. We will need more nanospores, so we'll pick those up hopefully as we kind of do some missions. If not, I'll do it in between parts. Effectively, you craft this the same way you'd craft anything else. Not very difficult. I think it has like a minute craft time is all. The only other like major one of note, aside from these other missions, would be the survival mission, which you can get Octavia's parts from, or the assassinate mission, which you can get Necros's parts from. But you have to have a specific component for the assassinate blueprints, which are the Lephantis nav coordinates, which you can only get on the Auric and Derelict. So you first have to do other missions before you're able to do the assassinate mission. Now, last time I did say I was going to craft a Vectis, and I did go ahead and farm up what we needed nanospores wise to be able to create it, so we're going to claim that. Also, in between parts, of course, it just had to happen that our Heck reached max rank, so we're going to just swap over to the Vectis immediately. The Vectis is going to be a fantastic weapon for us as we're running through these missions. Let's see if we can't find a good color scheme. This one's not horrible, I guess. Let's swap that around, though. Let's go with this, and we'll go with... actually... that's the wrong one. So we will go with this, but this needs to be the gold that we've got.
An unexpected
this.
color combination,
That's the wrong
operator.
one. This one.
My sensors
can
are
be white.
bleeding.
There we go. That looks pretty okay. We'll upgrade it real quick. Don't think we can do a whole lot with this. We will put a catalyst on here. We have a good amount of them at this point, so we're going to throw one on. And we will also use... I guess we'll just go straight into Serration. I'd really love it if we could have some more mod capacity, but we're just not lucky enough to get that just yet. We will throw on Infected Clip as well, I guess. Effectively, we're going to be leveling this up, and we're going to be putting lots of mods on that. Our Vectis is going to serve us very well. We also leveled up our Lado to max rank, so we're going to be switching over to the Vasto. And the Vasto, I'll pretty much do the same thing here. Let's see. We do have Harness Strike, yes. And I'm not going to be putting a Catalyst on the Vasto just because we will be upgrading from this relatively soon. There's kind of an upgrade you can get for this weapon, so we're not going to be doing that anytime soon. Everything else can pretty much stay the same, but you'll see some actually good weapons in use, hopefully. I say that, but they're pretty much unmodded, so it's kind of hard to say whether or not they'll actually be that good. But we're just going to jump straight into a Meso Fissure on public, and hopefully be able to do a couple of them. I did gather some relics, so that's kind of nice. We'll hopefully be able to pop a couple of them open, get some stuff done quickly here. Only 5 minutes left on this Meso Fissure, so if it transfers to something like defense, we're going to have to just deal with that as it comes and roll with the punches, as they say. Alright, stop lagging as we're loading in. There we go.
Defend yourself and use reacting to open relics.
Of course, with these relics, it's just a simple, find the enemies,
use it to crack open a
kill them. It's just that simple.
Look for more reactant.
You might see that the Vectis, of course, you can use it without scoping in, One kind of misconception about the sniper
Scans
rifles is
indicate
you
our
can't.
target is in the
You can,
vicinity. Find them.
but you have to be very close to an
Watch
enemy
yourself.
for actually
The
be able to
alarms
hit.
attract
Otherwise,
the
you can
Versa.
scope in with the right mouse button, and you can increase your zoom with the middle mouse button. Increasing your zoom does
Our target
increase
is dying.
the bonus you get
Hurry, complete the capture before they expire.
from the scoping in by increasing the zoom. I don't know if that's really the best choice, but that is how it goes sometimes.
Excellent work. We'll
Effectively, if
interrogate
you
the
increase the
captives
zoom,
back at base.
you get
Your
more
part
headshot
is
damage
done
with the
here,
Vectis.
Tenno.
With other sniper
Heavy
rifles, you
robotic
may get other
signature
benefits.
detected. Lock and load.
For the current time being, because we're fighting enemies kind of really close to us, and just horribly missing, we're going to be kind of not zoomed in for the most of it. It's very annoying to be fighting in tiny little corridors to
The
maximum
relic
zoom
has been
in the
cracked
scope.
open.
But
Finish
you'll
your
see me
mission to
change
find
around
out
the
what's inside.
level of zoom quite often. Okay, so now we've completed our relic. We can just run through. We don't really have to worry about any of the other enemies. Capture is relatively quick like that, so thankfully we're not going to have any problems. So that was pretty much a rundown of the Vectis. You'll have to forgive me if it's a little bit rushed, but that's just kind of how it goes in Warframe. The Vasto, of course, is a nice revolver-like weapon. It's, of course, just a basic pistol, but it does far more damage than the Lado, far more rapidly, and more reliably. So we'll try and show that off. Oh, that's a Bombard. Bombard is not the best thing to try and show it off against. None of these extremists are either, really. Our Vectis is much better suited for taking down those enemies. Some of the smaller enemies, like the Moas and whatnot, would probably be okay with our Vasto here. Vasto is great for getting headshots and going for those kind of mid-range combat fights. Just railgun mower, we can take that guy down really quick. We can take down a normal mower in like one shot. We can take down these heavy gunners if we manage to get some good headshots, but it's better for our Vectis for those big units. And it also kind of, the Vectis gives us a lot more freedom of like, what we're able to hit. Let's just take those guys down. That one. If we can get this other guy to get over here quick enough, I guess we'll extract here in 15 seconds regardless. So of course, if you're in a group and you've got a majority of people at the end, it will start the extracting timer. So even though that individual will not get here in time, we will still extract in a reasonable fashion. Let's see, what did we get? We got Tiburon, Prime Receiver, Fang Prime Handle, Bursting Prime Receiver. None of these are massively useful for us, so we're just going to go with the Forma. If you are trying to just gather as many weapons and Warframes as possible, it's better to just start collecting as many parts as you're able to.
Excellent work. We'll
But the Forma
interrogate
will suit us
captive
better
back at base.
as
Your
we kind of
part
go
is
through the
done
game here.
Tenno.
So we're going to leave this mission and then pretty much jump straight back into the same mission, hopefully as quickly as we can, to try and get another relic knocked out. That is, if the loading times will be nice to us. I think I've pretty much talked about the sniper rifle. Oh, the Vectis. The one other thing about sniper rifles, of course, is that they have a combo counter, which I will
Tenno,
try and
the
show off if
balance
I'm
of
able to.
power continues to shift. Navigation is
left that
marked with
group.
new invasions.
We didn't leave that group. Let's leave that group now. So we'll jump right back into another meso. We've only got 1 minute. We're only going to be able to get another one relic out of here, and that's kind of okay. Hopefully the next fissure will open soon, which will allow us to jump into a better mission. So sniper rifles in general, they have the zoom level, of course, increases your damage by increasing the zoom level, but you also, as you fire with a sniper rifle, you gain the combo counter, the sniper combo counter.
We received intel that somebody
Which I'll
vital
show
to
off
enemy
here.
operations is here. Find them and capture
If I
them.
can find an enemy. Okay, so
Watch
I've
out.
shot that guy
I'm
once,
detecting
twice.
fissures nearby.
You can see the
Do
combo
you
shot
have a
combo
matching
counter
relic?
at the bottom of my screen. It will degrade over time if you don't get
You found
hits,
the fissure.
but
Look out for
as it
reactors.
increases your critical
Use that
strike
reactor
damage.
to open a relic.
So
You
the
were
more
going to need
hits you
one
make,
reactor.
the better.
Want to open that relic.
You'll be able to get more
Target located.
critical
Bring them
hit
in.
damage, which is great, because sniper
Mission
rifles
complete.
tend to
The
have
captive
very
has
high
been
critical
escorted to the
chance.
extraction point. Well
So
done.
combining those two things together, the shot combo counter plus the high critical strike chance makes sniper rifles very, very good at doing damage. You'll probably be able to knock people over like nobody's business if you get a good streak going, where you're able to get a high shot combo counter. There are also mods that do increase the time it takes for the combo counter to degrade, which is relatively good, but overall finding the space mod-wide is kind of difficult sometimes. Let's just knock all these guys down. We do still have to collect enough reactant to open our relic. Should be relatively easy. If we can just knock down all these corrupted, I don't think we'll really have any major problems. I think I just saw something out of the corner of my eye that we haven't seen yet, but is kind of important. You can see that I am just kind of one-shotting most of these enemies. The big enemies might take 1 or 2 extra hits, but that just kind of shows the difference between the Vectis and the Heck.
Has been cracked open.
Combined with the fact that the Vectis has such a fast reload speed, makes the Vectis really nice early on.
Looks like heavy
Even in later
activity ahead.
parts of the game, the Vectis is still very good. It does a lot of damage, quick reload. You can pretty much make it through the entire ammo reserve before you realize it. We're gonna yell real quick just so this character here is a Banshee. She's currently AoEing all the enemies, so we're just gonna yell so she can get more damage there. And that's Limbo's effect. That's a Limbo Prime from the looks of it. So yeah, that's pretty much what you know. What I know about sniper rifles. There is of course a distance counter on the side there. Not massively important. Okay, so in this situation where there's no forma and none of the parts are massively useful to us, the fact that these have a silver name right here means that they're worth more. So we'll just select one of those to give us a little bit more worth.
Excellent work. We'll interrogate the captive
The
back
silver
at base.
names
Your
are more
part
rare
is done
than
here,
the
Tenno.
copper names, and the gold names are the most rare. The chance of getting a gold name part from a relic is quite low. So if you see a gold name part, it's best to select that unless you really needed something else. I'm kind of rapid firing through all of these kind of explanations, and you'll have to forgive me, but we're just trying to rush to complete our fissures here. Okay, so the next one is rescue. That's okay. We can do rescue relatively quickly. I did notice one thing that I wanted to change. My Vasto is a little bit off color. I don't really like that appearance. Let's change the barrel to, do we want to go darker blue? Gold. Gold kind of looks okay. It's definitely not the best, but that's just how it goes sometimes. What is this? This is like that. We'll make that white instead. There we go. That looks a little bit better. It's not perfect, but
If I may say, operator, your chosen
Vasto
Warframe
is one
suits you.
weapon that definitely looks very good if you can color it correctly, so hopefully in the future we might get our hands on a color palette which will allow us to fashion frame a little bit and kind of change the way we look. We're going to jump straight into this rescue, as it'll be the third relic that we'll need to open. Let's just go with this one. That one's fine. Shouldn't be any different than any of the other relics that we've opened up to this point. Not very difficult stuff. Let's see, what is my timer saying? Because we might just do one random mission to try and gather more nanospores for the derelict key that we need. But hopefully we'll get some in this mission because we are in Saturn for this. If we're lucky. Knowing me though, heck, we'll not get anywhere near enough. Okay, let's just help this person open the door. You never know where you're going to spawn in with this stuff. Whenever it spawns you into a mission, you really don't have any idea where it'll spawn you in. Sometimes it just spawns you in the weirdest spots. I've been spawned like in the air, falling, and that just was weird. Pretty sure that was a bug though. There is an elevator there, but we don't need it. Or a Warframe.
Careful. If the wardens detect you, they will surely initiate the execution sequence.
It looks like we've got a speed volt with us, which is kind of good.
The hostage is almost out
Speed
of
volt
time.
will
Hurry.
kind of do a lot of damage and help
Here
us
are the
move
holding
quicker.
cells.
If
Search
he
each
uses
one for the
speed.
hostage.
Let's just open up this cell here. We need 2 more reactant before we're done.
Thank the stars,
Awesome.
not a minute too soon.
So I did hear a rift. There's a
Subject
distinct
found.
noise
You need to bring the captive to safety.
that
Protect
rifts
them
make
at
when
all
they
costs.
activate, which sounds a lot like lightning striking. So if you can kill enemies,
I
and
need
corrupted,
a
of course,
weapon.
that'll give you lots of benefits. I've been just completely outrun by my team here.
Doors are locked. Time to break in.
Well, that's massively annoying. I have to get rid of this lockdown before we can catch up to our
Override
team.
complete. Move on.
Okay.
Alarms reset.
I'm sure my team will forgive me for being a little bit slow here. Kind of missed
The
out on
relic has
the
been
volt
cracked
buff
open.
there.
Finish your mission to find out what's inside.
We are getting an okay amount of nanospores, though. So we'll see how many we have by the time we're done here. Okay, and we are done. Oh, so now here's an interesting conundrum. Meg Prime was just recently revaulted, meaning that you cannot get her parts anymore. We did get a gold item, but it's an item that isn't vaulted currently. So this is actually the more rare of the two, the Meg Prime chassis.
Escort mission complete.
Overall, it
The
didn't really
hostage
matter
is
which one we
safe now.
picked.
Let's get out of here.
And I accidentally picked the gold one just because I was talking too much, so it doesn't really matter. In the end, we're not going to be really focusing on building primed gear throughout this playthrough. It's mostly just going to be focusing on making it to the end of the star chart and completing all the quests. I will show off kind of the prime collection I have on my other accounts when I'm finished doing most of the quests in this part here. In this playthrough, that is. So there will be that. Let's see. So now we've completed that, we do just have to finish, yep, just the Auric and Derelict Key. Let's go see how many nanospores we still need to complete that. So you will find another tab now that we've bought our first key blueprint right here. So it looks like we need another, oh, excuse me, a little burp there, another 1,000 nanospores to complete the key. Not too difficult. Can definitely get that in maybe a run or two of a basic mission. So we'll take a look. Let's see. Cassini's an okay one. Helene is actually really good. Let's go with Helene. Helene gives us a lot of resources, and a lot of people like to run Helene. So if you're just new to the game, Helene's a good place to gather some resources. We'll jump in. This is where I gathered nanospores for the Vectis previously, so easy enough to do. Oh, there's some massive like texture popping right there in the loading screen. I don't know if you can see that. Colors were not loading properly. Let's skip that cinematic. We'll just go through.
You must defend our equipment until reinforcements arrive.
And I can hopefully show off a little bit more of how the Vectis kind of works. Effectively, it's just a basic bolt action rifle. Pretty sure I've explained a lot about it, all the different mechanics. Sniper rifles all kind of have the same sort of mechanics. So if you get familiar with one sniper rifle in Warframe, you'll pretty much be familiar with all of them. The one thing that is nice about sniper rifles in general, though, is since they were upgraded, they do all have innate punch through, meaning that you can shoot an enemy through a wall, at least most walls, relatively easily. We will be doing a little bit of moving around throughout this mission rather than just staying near the defense objective, because we can actually get a lot more resources that way. Alright, let's just go pick a fight. I think that's kind of the best way we can go about this. We've already gotten, like, I think almost as many nanospores as we had from that one mission. The previous mission that we did for the relic. So that's not too bad. Might only have to really do 5 rounds before we can get enough. You can of course check your mission progress by whatever key you've assigned it to. I've got mine currently set up to F1. So we've got 600 nanospores already, just that quickly. Nanospores are of course not a rare resource. By the time you're done with Warframe, get just a ridiculous amount of them. Or at the very least, by the time you're done with the campaign, that is. So the bubble that we're currently in is Limbo's bubble. I've talked about it a little bit in the previous mission. Limbo's bubbles kind of bring enemies in and out of this rift plane. You can tell we're in the rift plane right now by kind of the black and white tone. It's kind of desaturated everything. So now we're back in the normal plane. While in Limbo's rift, you gather or you gain energy. I think it's like 10 energy per second. So it is actually fantastic to stay in his rift if you need energy. Though you cannot hit enemies that are outside of the rift while in the rift. So there is a massive downside to that. You might have seen that I tried to shoot some people earlier and was not able to for that very reason. Though it can protect you, because it's at the same time enemies that are outside of the rift cannot hurt things or warframes inside the rift, which is precisely why Limbo is doing what he's doing. He's protecting the defense objective. You might notice the enemies, as soon as they walk into the rift, also get frozen. Of course, another one of Limbo's abilities. His abilities are very nice for defense objectives, as I stated previously, but it should be noted that you can also troll your teammates quite badly with them if you're not paying attention. So don't do that. Pay attention when you're playing Limbo. Make sure that you're not annoying your teammates. Don't send enemies into the rift unnecessarily. Kind of focus on ensuring that your team is kind of at their max potential. Most people won't care if you put a rift on the defense objective. It's not really a major problem. Nor will they care if they use stasis really all that much. Just be aware that if somebody's trying to kill something, don't rift it. Don't rift your teammates if they're trying to kill things. It's very annoying. Most of all, if you're worried about something, be like vocal with your team. Ask your team if it's okay. Don't be afraid to say, like, do you want me to continue this or something of that nature. Most people don't care. You don't really have to super worry about it. Just note that if somebody gets pissed off at you for playing Limbo, just be kind of calm about the situation. Take some simple advice that you don't have to do what he's doing. You don't have to use Cataclysm. You don't have to rift enemies. Another great way to play Limbo is by going in and out of the rift, just to use the invincibility of the rift, so that it's something to be aware of. Limbo's not as squishy as it used to be, and a lot of mods nowadays help with that. So you can pretty much just be like a ninja going in and out of the rift all the time. While in the rift, of course, as I stated, enemies outside cannot hurt you, so Limbo's innate ability to go in the rift whenever he needs to becomes more of an emergency ability at that point, allowing you to survive greatly. So we are at wave 5. How many nanospores do we have? 1,700. Perfect. We'll leave right at wave 5. That's all we needed. Not going to worry about the enemies too much. We'll kind of show off by stomping a couple times here. Try and get our enemy kill count up. A lot of people underestimate Rhino's stomp, which is something that I did a little bit back. I've talked a little bit about how Volt is a fantastic DPS frame. It's really good at clearing out hordes of enemies, but Rhino is also too. Rhino fitted with some range mods can do some real damage if he really gets into it. But he's much less likely to be effective at higher levels compared to Volt. You need to kind of do all of your damage with your stomp in one burst, so higher level enemies that have a lot more effective HP or a lot more health and armor will not be able to be killed as easily as these lower level enemies. So that's just something to be aware of.
Reinforcements available.
Let's get out of here.
Do you choose to leave now or continue fighting?
Shouldn't take us very long to build that key, and then we can just do the junction, which will allow us to progress. I was kind of hoping that we wouldn't have to do any farming, but I forgot that I was low on nanospores, so you'll have to forgive me. It should make this video just a little bit longer. I'm not padding, I swear. So we did get a Kavat incubator upgrade segment blueprint. That is something that we could get from the I think it's the Dragmasters. No, the Dragmasters, the dog people. The Hayaka Masters is what they're referred to as. You can upgrade your landing craft from the miscellaneous function. So the Kavat incubator upgrade segment allows you to effectively create cavats, and I'll get to that, explaining that here in a second, but I want to start this build real quick. So we'll start this build and we'll go and we'll check out the Orokin Derelict once that's done. But I'll talk a little bit more about the incubator upgrade. So once you get what you need to build the cavat incubator upgrade, you can then use your kind of pet platform here to create cavats, the same way you kind of breed Kubros. Currently, we're not going to really focus on that. You can, at this point in the game, actually start working towards creating this incubator upgrade segment. You need a lot of alloy plates to be able to do it. You need some argon crystals and cavat genetic codes. We can get cavat genetic codes by doing scans of wild cavats in the Orokin Derelict. If, while we're doing the Orokin Derelict capture, we're able to see any of those wild cavats, I'll hopefully be able to show that off. You just pull out your codex scanner or your Samaris scanner and you scan them. Occasionally you'll get a cavat DNA, cavat genetic code. I call them DNAs because
Ordis has completed
he
a foundry task.
looks a lot like a sample of DNA. But now that we have our derelict capture key, this is of course an infinite blueprint, so we don't have to worry about expending it. Now that we have our key, we can actually access the Orokin Derelict. Note that the Orokin Derelict is rather tough. The Orokin Derelict is not an easy place to be. The levels are 25 to 35, meaning that I think they're higher than that of Saturn, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they are. So just be aware of that fact when you're going to fight enemies on the Orokin Derelict. So if you crafted enough keys for all the different missions, you could just unlock all of them. Note that when you do a mission, you use the key, and you will not join a group that is doing the missions. The Orokin Derelict is a funny kind of like add-on game type that if you want a group to come with you when you're doing the Orokin Derelict, you must build said group beforehand. So it should be noted that if you are not ready to do this sort of mission solo, don't join it right now. Wait until you've got the correct modded gear and whatnot. But I think we'll be just fine. So usually at this point of the game, we'd be filling up with other people if we could join other groups, but we can't, of course. There are other parts to the Orokin Derelict that I will try to explain to the best of my ability. As I stated previously, to gain what we need to craft the assassinate blue keys, you have to first do some fighting on the derelict itself. So you can run across the derelict maps
here to find our target and bring them to the extraction
a little bit earlier by doing some of the Maru's bizarre stuff. Sometimes the Iatans that she will send you to find are located on the Orokin Derelict maps. The Orokin Derelict maps are kind of Orokin structures with infested all over the place. You will be fighting infested and corpus, depending on what type of mission you're on. I think there are also sometimes Grenier as well. For this capture mission, we'll definitely be focusing on capturing a corpus target while they are fighting the infested.
Vital information that we will need to extract.
So that was rather lucky. This nullifier target just ran straight into a laser, which is what knocked him over there. Rather bad pathing on his part, but lucky for us. Should be noted, these lasers do a massive amount of damage if you stand at them.
They're lured out by the death of infested. Lay low and it should go away, or amp up the fight to draw it out.
So that's an event that we haven't seen before. The Juggernaut is something that you can fight on the Derelict and does spawn pretty much, I want to say, every single time that you're on the Derelict. If you kill a lot of infested while on the Derelict, the Juggernaut will spawn. They're a very tough infested enemy. We'll probably see them eventually, but not right now, hopefully. I don't really want to fight any of them. Yeah, we're just right here in Extraction. So there are some other things I did want to talk about. If we can find one. I want to see if we can't find a vault. Now, experienced players will know what I'm talking about. Newer players probably have no idea. We also haven't seen any cavats.
You are safe.
Okay, so now that Lotus has informed us that there's no longer a Juggernaut around, it doesn't matter how many infested we kill. We can pretty much just go mass genocide and it would be fine. But I'm not really going to focus on killing, I'm more on exploring at this moment. Okay, so there's a wild cavat. So you would pull out your codex scanner, and you would scan them the same way you'd scan anything else. Sometimes you'll get a cavat genetic code, not always. That will turn them hostile towards you though, so just be aware. let's see. I still haven't found... Okay, so I'm not seeing the vault anywhere. I don't want to spend forever doing this. But I really do want to find that vault, because those vaults are kind of important. So later... Oh, there goes all of our iron skin thanks to the one laser. We'll deal with those. So we're going to run through here. We're going to jump up through here. Oh, if we're able to. Crap, dang ledges. Okay, so we're going to see if we can't find somewhere the vault. No, I don't think it was behind us there. What about over here? So there's just a ton of different ways to go in the Organ Derelicts. I'm just kind of exploring the different ways that are potential. Places for vaults to spawn or different pathways to spawn, so we can try and find one. So there's a different pathway up here. Yeah, maybe right here. Could be over here. So I'm looking just specifically for a very special door. There it is. So this is a vault door in the Organ Derelict. One of these will always spawn on every mission. On the survival and defense missions, I think it can be a little bit more hidden. But one of these will pretty much always spawn. You can craft a different type of key, which I will show off once we leave the mission, to open those doors. And when you open said doors, you are able to gather the resources that are inside, which are corrupted mods. Now, if you've never heard of corrupted mods before, that's fine. It's something kind of that you'll be dealing with a lot in the later parts of the game. Don't worry about it too early on if you're too confused. Effectively, corrupted mods, though, change, kind of decrease one stat to increase another stat, and they're massively useful to late game builds and boosting certain types of power. So as you can imagine, I think one of them, to give a prime example, would be Overextended, which I believe decreases strength to increase range. So it decreases your Warframe's power strength to increase their range. It's not useful for every Warframe, but for a good number of Warframes it is quite useful. These Organ Derelicts are a great source of nanospores, and I think, if I remember correctly, the Neurodes, if I'm not misremembering that, or maybe it's the Organ cells that we can get that from here. Let's check. Let's take a look. So you cannot deploy extractors in the system, but yes, you can get Organ cells and Neurodes from the Organ Derelict. So that is something to note. It is definitely worthwhile to do Organ Derelict missions, especially if you're focusing on trying to find resources. Not like what I just did. I just kind of rushed through it because we're trying to get to the Junction. So we'll do that. Let me show off real quick the other keys for those vaults. So previously, these keys you could not all equip. You would only be able to equip one at a time. Let's see. Do we not have access to those keys? We may not have access to those keys yet. I didn't even think about that. I guess we don't have access to those keys yet. Okay, well, later on, then we'll be able to craft what they call void relic keys, which I guess we just don't have the access to craft them yet because we're probably not high enough level. I don't remember getting them from a quest. But effectively those doors are important. If you do have void keys, that's what they look like. In the past, you were only able to craft to carry one type of key. There are 4 different types of keys. But thanks to the new gear system that they installed with, or that they created with the infinite, I want to say, spiraling web of gear, you're kind of able to put them all on one Warframe and use them to open those doors to get the corrupted mods. It should be noted that these keys do impair your Warframe when you're using them. They reduce your health, they reduce your shields, they reduce your speed and your damage. So definitely a late game sort of thing, but if you ever wanted to know what a vault relic key door was like, there you go. Let's just jump straight into the Uranus Junction though. Enough of that endgame stuff, we're not anywhere near it just yet. We've got a lot of quests and a lot of things to do before we get to that point. But we will definitely be able to do this here junction much easier thanks to our Vectus, I'd imagine. That is, unless I'm misremembering. but I'm pretty sure we shouldn't have too many problems. So overall, Equinox is a Warframe that we'll be able to get on the next planet, I think. Equinox is a very good Warframe, very good at doing damage in an area and also CC and support. But I don't think it'll be much of a problem for us. I don't believe. Thanks to our Vectis and our ability to do lots and lots of damage all on the front, shouldn't have too much of a problem. Man, that Boltor is doing a good of a number of damage. Let's stomp, and we're just gonna kind of take our time to pluck at Equinox, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Our Vectis just does a lot of damage and can effectively, I don't want to say bypass shields, but can do a lot of damage just to your health, past your shields. So definitely very effective against a Warframe that focuses mostly on shields, or enemies that focus mostly on shields. Alright, so that completes the Arena Junction. Didn't know if I was going to have enough time to actually see it through, but here we are. Next time we'll be heading across to Uranus and completing all the kind of objectives that we need to unlock the next junction after that. We did just get the Lecta blueprint and also the Chrome Under Optics blueprint. As I stated previously, we will get Chroma parts as time goes on. And yeah, there we are. Let's see, what do we need to do for Neptune? So we need to complete the quest in Ata, we need to defeat Tal Rhaegar, complete any 5 missions on Uranus with only our melee weapon, which that'll be the difficult one for us. Open 3 caches during any sabotage mission on Uranus. Overall, not massively difficult, but we will have a lot of stuff to do before we can get there. We also have our Mastery Rank test, which we will do next time. I don't think there's anything I need to farm up for next time. I'm pretty sure we're just going to jump into it, start doing some missions. I'll show you guys how to unlock the quest in Ta, and we will progress from there. But until then, goodbye.